here at Conversations with Mrs Fash is some children grow and some children are raised. If I raise my child will be at the mercy of another child who just grew. So what can everyone do to ensure that every child is safe around your child instead of looking for the bully?
There's no such thing as, perfect ideology or perfect parenting context.
Hello, it's Adirunke Fasher and welcome to Conversations with Mrs Fash again. Remember, some children just grow and some children are raised. So the question is, are you raising your children or are you just growing? Remember, the child who is raised will be at the mercy of the child who just grew. So somebody has to do something intentionally about the children in your house and around you. Today, we have another special guest. But before I go on to the guest, let's talk about the topic. So, parents have fears, right? So it's just common knowledge that every parent raises their children with some level of fear. Maybe that's why our parents were so stern, and all of those stories around hearing your daddy's horn or the honk of his car and then you're running. They just felt they needed to put fear in us so that we could respect them and listen to them. But now we're seeing children question everything, and we're saying, do parents really need that level of fear in raising their children? So today's topic is addressing parental fears. In the event that we do not list your fear among some of those we'll talk about, please feel free to let us know in the comment section. Well, it's our intention that our guest for today will do justice to the topic, addressing parental fears. So our guest for today, I like to call her a Gen Z parent, but she has warned me several times that she's not Gen Z. In fact, we've calculated her age together and she tried to convince me that she's not Gen Z, but maybe she's not Gen Z by age, but Gen Z by every other thing. You'll be listening to her shortly, and I know you agree with me. So today we have the very beautiful Event Compare special TV host, amiable lady, Tobi Shola Abiola. Welcome to the show.
See me doing drum roll for myself.
Welcome to the show. I told you. So you're the first guest to be having on the show that will do drum roll. I told them we had a Gen Z parent here with us.
Oh my goodness. It's such a delight to be here. Thanks for having me, Mrs.
Good.
Fash.
So good to have you here. I mean,
thank you.
I can't just wait to have you start dishing out just you're one old woman in a young girl's skin.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm sure you've heard that many times.
Well,
old woman in a young girl's skin. You have two. The day you told me the ages of your children and how long you had been married, I just kept looking at you like you could have told me a lie.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because most times you're very apt with just your comments around young girls and teenagers and all of it, and that's why today we would like to listen to what you have to say about parental fears. So do you agree that in our generation, not your generation, Tobi?
What do you mean?
In our
Please,
generation,
off your mic.
In our generation, we the millennials,
please,
before the Gen Zs came along. Okay, in our generation, our parents believed so much in instilling fears, and they didn't just instill those fears in us because they wanted us to respect them. They had those fears genuinely. I mean, parents had fears of a child bringing shame to the home. Yeah. They had fears of putting in their best and the children will not just turn out the way they wanted to. I remember a particular woman whose daughter became pregnant as a teenager and she fell flat on the floor and wept sore. I at that point, I felt for her. I was just wondering, what did you do? Yeah. Why are you feeling this much pain? And the only thing that came out of her mouth was, the world will say, I have failed. So I can understand. I don't know if our children, the current children we have, 10 and below, understand that parents have fears. Yeah. I don't even know if the teenagers understand that parents have fears. But I'm also asking myself, is there a need for this fear? What do you understand by parental fears, and where did it even come from?
Thanks so much, Mrs. Fash.
Welcome.
So for me, I think that parental fears are innate, such that it just shows as we in our parental journey, right? So I remember that as a young mom, I used to be afraid of the fact that if I had left my maybe 6 weeks old baby on the bed, he would stop breathing. right? So I'll just keep staring at him and looking that, is he breathing? You know, that fear of if I just get my eyes off him. And it got me to a point where I began to think that I didn't give this boy life, so I can't be the one to be monitoring
Everything
his
about
life,
him.
right? So it brought me to a point of understanding that I'm a custodian of him rather than the person responsible for his life, right? So at that point, I let
So this
go.
from a faith point, right?
Yes, from a faith-based perspective, to say that even the children that we have were seeming like this is my child, right? Ultimately, we can only try. It all belongs to God eventually, how a child will turn out, and we can only hope that the children that we have within our care would turn out well.
Okay, so talking about the children turning out well, I know that when we're growing up, we always heard that it takes a whole community, a whole village to raise a child. Now we have changed it to it takes a community, but you have to create the community yourself. But in this present day, before you will hear the sleepovers and the holidays, everybody's mind is up here. I'm not sure you can let your children go do 2 months.
I can. And I think that it's also important for us to understand the people within our circle, within our community. So for a lot of parents that I know, they would not allow that to happen. Because, you really cannot blame them. You really don't know what is happening behind the doors of another person's home.
Yes.
You do not know how exposed the children are. And in an environment where it is that you're trying to protect your child, you're trying to watch what they feed on. Not food, right? What they feed on in their minds. And you're just trying to just really protect that child from the corruption of this world.
Of course.
Right? So you really cannot tell. And the most...
every other person will pay attention.
Do you see?
Because, Tobi, I can stay in my house and notice my children are silent and just want to see what they're doing. But I can't do that when they're elsewhere.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean I don't trust them. Because I know they have a mind of their own. So they have a right to check. These days you cannot say you're not going to give your child access to the internet. They do assignments every now and then. They do online work every now and then. Some of their works are in their tab and they need internet to function. So I think if we introduce values early, it would reduce the fear.
Absolutely. So for values, I think that it is critical for us to begin to introduce age-appropriate values. So as the child grows, we begin to expose them to age-appropriate values. So even a child that is 1 year can listen, he can hear you. Even 6 months, a child born can hear because they do auditory tests and all that. So the earlier we begin to just keep telling, they may not respond immediately. They may not give you that feedback that you want, but somehow you're imprinting, because as a child is born, a child is known to be a tabula rasa, where he's like a blank slate. So as he grows and evolves, we're imprinting things. And so it's better as parents that we're imprinting the right values in our children, whether they can respond to us in the immediate or not.
Okay, so picking it from where you just mentioned, so I want to agree that if their ears can hear, then their eyes also can see. One of the guests we've had on the show actually admonished parents to see that whatever they believe in, whatever they have chosen to adopt as a lifestyle should not just be assumed. It must be clearly written that the children should go there, they should stroll there and see that this is something valuable to us. And over time, they will learn to read it and also wonder why every other person is just guided by those things. So we shouldn't assume that the children just understand that bad is bad. I think parents assume a lot. In my opinion, that's one of the major causes of the fear parents have, because you just assume they should know. You assume they are in danger. You assume somebody else is doing something that exists in your mind. So instead of assumptions, maybe we should test some of these things.
And then begin to ask and engage our children in conversations, which is very, very critical. I realized that a lot of parents just ask their children, how was your day? And the default response is fine. And they're like, okay, go and change your uniform.
But what of the children? What of the parents who try to preempt problems?
So that's a different ball game.
Did anybody touch you? Did anybody Did anybody say this in your ear?
From the questions, you know that it's from a place of fear.
It's from a place of fear.
It's from a place of fear. So as parents, we have to tighten our chest and have liver. I mean, I'm telling you, because some of these things actually
like,
happen
what's that
only...
thing they say in Yoruba? My mom once said it to me. Ọkàn ló fi ń tọ́ ọmọ,
Tomo,
something
yeah.
like that. Like,
yeah, really.
Your mind has to be tough.
I'm telling you, because I'd actually thought that parenting was we'll wing it, it'll be fine. But there are times when I just literally sit down and say, wait, Betu tell me, say, make I go born now. Because
Really?
it is, I'm telling you, it's a lot of emotion. I mean, for a parent like me that is emotionally involved with my child, right? I know there's some parents that don't see it as a big deal once they provide everything the child needs.
I was just going
right?
to that. So Tobi, let's go right into it, because
Okay,
I was going to take
go.
that next. So I feel like parents provide financially, they attend to needs, and for every other thing, they just allow fears to take over. So they don't provide emotional support like they do financial support.
Absolutely.
And that's why they feel confident. After all, I've given you food now, I've paid your school fees.
Yeah.
But you're not there to listen. You're not even there to offer guidance. You're not even there to give instructions. So what do we say about the impact of social media in promoting parental fears? I'll tell you why I asked. So recently, a parent of one of the children at my center sent a message to me, and it was I wouldn't call it an SOS, but you know when someone calls you repeatedly,
Okay.
and the person says, I have sent you a message. So I had to stop everything I was doing, and I went to it. So when I saw it, I replied, I said, I've seen this before. He said, oh, you've seen it before. What was the message? It was like a compilation of the thoughts of children in a certain school somewhere in the north.
Okay.
And those children were between the ages of 2 and 12. So they asked them to say, if you had an opportunity to tell your parents some of the things they're doing that you don't like, what would it be? So the children said a lot. And the school decided to publish that for parents all over to see. So when she saw it, she was shocked, because she would never have imagined a 10-year-old could think like that.
Wow.
Even a 12-year-old. Yeah, when I saw it at first, I just felt, why are these children talking to outsiders and not their parents? That was the first thing that came to my mind. It wasn't even the weight of what it was, but those things were private. And if private matters become for public consumption, then there's already a gap. So my question is, how did we introduce these gaps in our homes?
So, for your generation,
Yes. Thank you for admitting. Yeah.
for your generation, I think that there was a need.
Sorry, Tobi, now you make me feel old.
You are old
for
now.
Our generation. I agree.
Really?
For our generation.
I think for a lot more older people, like within our age bracket, right? What it is that they tried to make up for the things their parents didn't provide for them by now working double hard to ensure that their children want everything at the expense of their time.
True.
So a lot of us, I mean, we just grew by. We chop, we no chop, we go see Gary, go, we are okay, right? But a lot of us will now feel like, I don't want to experience the same thing. I don't want my children to experience the same thing I experienced. So we're doubling on jobs. We're doubling on time outside to provide for these children. And we're missing the important thing, which is time with them. Now, time with them does not mean spend 10 hours with them.
Quality
it's
time.
the quality
Of the time.
right?
Yeah.
But that is missing because we get home really tired and exhausted.
Tobi, so I want to play the advocate of the
Yeah,
parents. Let me
obviously.
not call the parents devils here, but let me play their advocate. You know, things have always been tough. Globally, not just in the country, because if you look at how inflation is rising across the globe,
The world,
it's not
yeah.
tied to Africa alone. But let's even pick Africa as a case study. When we were growing up, yes, things were tough, but one person's income might have been sufficient at that time, because you can never compare the level of expenses.
Yeah.
You know, now if the man can pay the rent and the woman can pay the fees, somebody has to feed the family. Somebody must provide savings for future use. So I know that we live in times where everybody needs to plunge in something.
Mrs. Fash, I'm not disputing that, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I said that the quality of time spent is not equal to the length of time.
Okay.
So if it's a 10 minutes that you're really, really focused on this child,
Let it
please
count.
give it to that child, right?
Okay.
But we end up saying, I've provided this one, there's a nanny there for you, you know, and we're just outsourcing our responsibilities.
Yes.
I'm not against outsourcing, but there are things there's some things that shouldn't be outsourced.
I agree, Toby. I agree. And I think when it comes to the core, don't give the call to somebody else to
Absolutely.
do. Like when we were in school, I'm not sure I remember my father coming to school at any point, but I know my mommy came most of the times, and whenever I saw my mom, my heart will skip like 50 times, because all your sins, before they go into academics, all your sins, the fact that maybe you're sometimes distracted in class, that was my major issue as a child. I was very absent-minded.
No.
As I became an adult, the first appraisal I ever did, I just saw absent-minded. I was like, Jesus, will this follow me?
Carry me,
Will this follow me reach here? Like, God, like absent-minded again in this place. So after FGC, you followed me here. You know. So. But now I see a lot of support that parents give to children.
Yeah.
When people come for open day and they say, this is the weakness of your child. You hear parents say, can I call you later? Is there something we can do? You hear parents asking the child, is this an issue? You know, so I also think the language must change. If we're talking about quality time, the language has to change.
Absolutely.
When some parents stay with their children, they used to ask to nag and complain and
compare.
And spit out their fears and compare. So I
child.
think these fears parents have, they created it. So maybe
and
we should
I
relax.
think that some of them, some parents, some of us, let me include myself, have not healed from the hurt of our childhood. So we're passing it on to our children subconsciously. It is not intentional, right? Such that we feel like this was how I was raised. It takes a self-aware person to actually not raise their children the same way they were raised.
Toby,
right?
Make sure you go to any restaurant you want this night and send me the bill. But really, that statement is so strong. It takes a self-aware person not to raise a child the same way they were raised. There's so much we have to say about our inner child.
Yeah.
I've heard so much about the inner child in the past few weeks that I'm starting to think and question the fact that I also need to search for my inner child and make sure I found peace. I think I found peace, but I think I need more because
there are layers. There are layers.
True that there are some things that we just covered
and
left there.
Yes.
I left the ball.
Yes.
We'll be going on a break now.
Okay.
When we return, we'll talk about the inner child. You pointed that as a major trigger of parental fear. So we'll talk about the inner child and healing for the inner child. We would also talk about what parents can do to see that they still trust in their children and the children feel like, I won't let my parents down because I trust them, not just because I'm scared of them. You know, trust and fear requires the same level of emotion. But we choose fear because you don't need to put in any effort.
Any effort
no
is
work.
by default.
By default,
Yes.
I can just choose to pack all the fear. But what do we do to instill trust in them? Thank you for staying with us. I know you don't want to go away. Sit there. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Thank you. Here at Conversations with Mrs. Fash is some children grow and some children are raised. If I raise my child will be at the mercy of another child who just grew. So what can everyone do to ensure that every child is safe around your child, instead of looking for the bully?
There's no such thing as, perfect ideology or perfect parenting content.
Welcome back. We're still talking about addressing parental affairs with Tobi Shola Abiola, and she was talking to us about something very important: the inner child, finding peace for your inner child, finding healing for your inner child. So, Tobi, please, can you tell us, how can you tell that the inner child has not found peace or healing, even in adults that seem fine?
So for a lot of us, and I would say us because I'm also in that WhatsApp group, right? A lot of us have fears, right, that we've subconsciously passed on to our children. So it can be as simple as having a conversation regarding a choice of sport. So when you say, when a child says, I want to swim, and you're like, no, don't swim. Not because you actually don't want that child to swim, but because you had an experience in your childhood. Maybe a neighbor went to the swimming pool and XYZ happened. So you're subconsciously passing it on, and you've really not dealt with that issue to say, okay, what are the factors? What happened at that instance, right? So you just pass it on to your child, and you're depriving that child an opportunity to be excellent at something they love.
Of course,
right?
Tobi, you're absolutely correct. You just made me feel so guilty. So guilty. In fact, not just me. When I get to see my husband, I'll tell him, two of us, let's go and find peace for our children. Because all these things that we have not allowed our children to take part in is because of our experiences. So we've not even looked at their abilities to see if they will cope or not. We just came up with a firm no. And so now I understand you. Even when it comes to choosing career courses.
You get.
Yes. Oh, I hope parents can learn from this. So what do you think is the solution? What do you think parents should do?
So for me, I think that the first point of call is to have a honest conversation with yourself as a parent.
With yourself.
Right. Have a honest conversation and ask yourself, why do I think the way that I think? What experiences led to me believing in what I currently believe in? And how can I be better in making some decisions, right? So when we're able to answer those questions, it becomes easier for us to properly guide our children in the path in which they should go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tobi. Yeah, thank you. I hope we can all learn from this. And just as you're saying it, for a minute or two, my mind drifted away. I wanted to start a conversation now with myself, but really, thank you for this. It's something that I would find time to do, and I encourage everybody to do so that we can be fine. So, Tobi, have you ever heard the term parental burnout?
Yes.
What does it mean?
So it means that, to my understanding, where it is that as parents, we reach our limit, right, such that we're unable to take on more responsibilities in caring for our children as a result of the involvement that we have with our children, right?
Tobi, that's ambiguous. Can you break it down?
So, for a lot of parents, I mean, we've been told over time that you don't rest from being a parent. Parenting is a lifetime journey. Even as an adult, it is a lifetime journey. And we hear people say that, and I'm like, I just want to breathe, right? So, as parents, just like in the workplace, we can actually get burnt out, right? We can actually get exhausted in caring for somebody else, because a lot of parents would take on the responsibility, or they would prioritize caring for a child over themselves, thereby burning out. So things like self-care are not, some parents don't even know what self-care is. I want to sleep alone. They don't understand, right? So for me, sometimes when I feel like I'm choked on the bed, I just sneak out and I go and sleep, preferably on the floor, right? In an extreme situation, because I just want to be myself. I don't want any and I understand. I mean, I understand it. My children are still quite young, so it's easy for me to, live in that reality of saying that my children, they want me, mommy, but mommy needs some time alone. And I understand that if I do not take some time out for myself, I would not be the best version of myself for the children.
Tobi, I don't know if you could have produced your words better than what you just did. Because there are times when I feel I start to nag, or I'm at the edge, and immediately I know that no, I need some time off. So it's important that parents recognize, acknowledge that it's okay to be a mom, being a super mom sometimes.
You don't need.
Not necessarily.
I mean.
And you also need to know when to take a break.
Yes. And because there's some children, if you ask, say one thing about mommy, and they're saying, mommy likes to shout. And I'm like, why is that the first thing that comes to your mind? Because anytime mommy is always shouting.
Yes, mommy is always on the edge.
Because mommy is always stressed. Mommy has not taken time to rest. Tell me something about daddy. Daddy never plays with us. Why don't you say daddy pays our school fees? Do you see?
I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. It's been Adirunke Fasher on Conversations with Mrs Fash. Have a good day.